He is going to know why I'm driving.
Before I was shooting ringside, I shot ballroom dancing, of all things. And that's what the boxers and fighters are doing. They're dancing around the ring. I find in photography you should know your sport, and I've learned to know the sport and love the sport and follow it pretty closely. Well, I first got started in shooting boxing back in 2008, and that was a couple years after I retired. It was just a way to fill up time and in my life. I had been interested in boxing ever since the 80s.
Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Randy Carr, welcome. This is the Harley-Davidson World Rampage at Remington, presented by Takati.
You have to know what to expect and when to expect it. There's more action in the boxing. There's short action in MMA. They come out at the bell, they kick, they punch, then they grapple to the ground and they stay on the ground.
Get out of there!
You know, the crowd just gets you going, man. You just crawl inside it. I use a Canon 1DX, and I picked that camera because it'll shoot 15 frames a second. I very seldom have it clicked up that high. I usually shoot at 7 to 8 frames per second, and I don't lean on it or hold it down continuously. It's little bursts of 3 to 5 shots. In the later rounds, if it's getting close and going towards the end, that's when I will tend to lean on it a little bit more, knowing that they're going all out that last round. I've tried all kinds of ways using manual, but I found out putting it in shutter speed priority works best for me, not knowing what the lighting is going to be, for example, here at this casino, or if I'm outdoors or I'm in a grand hall. I set it on, like I say, shutter speed priority, and I put that shutter speed at approximately 1/400th of a second. Sometimes in MMA, I can drop it down a little bit, 1/320th, because they're not moving, they're grappling on the floor. Then I have to contend with the ISO, and that's the big thing. I have to figure out what works best. Again, that depends on the venue. I've found here at this venue here, I'm usually at 1250. It's a full frame camera, so I get a little help on the ISO there, and that seems to work the best for me. On my focusing on my fighters, I've got 2 fighters, I offset my focus to the left to where I don't have my focus point dead center. I've got it set off, for me, off to the left. That way I'm always moving the camera with a fighter and not focusing in between the fighters. I mean, it's like open field tackle, man. And when I'm taking pictures, I'm blocking everything out. I actually feel like I've crawled inside the camera and I'm following everything that happens in the ring, whether it's MMA or boxing, from round to round to round, and I've got my own technique on how I capture some of the good pictures that I've gotten. When the round is over and the fighter's sitting down and he's sweating and he's being talked to by the trainer and they're putting water on his head, I know that when the round starts, he's loaded with water. So I wait for that first punch or gathering of the two, and that's when the water flies, and I'm always ready with my camera for that. And a little blood never hurts.
Job hazard, a little biohazard.
And over the years now, I've gotten to know everybody. I've gotten to see these fighters fight from amateur all the way in to become professionals. And I've seen some of them even fight for Oklahoma championships, from an amateur all the way to a championship fighter. And that makes me feel like I'm part of the scene. Everybody knows me, everybody knows my face, and everybody is so friendly, and the fighters, believe it or not, are polite and the nicest guys you'd ever want to meet.